Among Us has officially been revived, with millions of people watching gameplay across multiple platforms. And today I will deeply go through the most important concept in Among Us, which will let you win every imposter game. I am of course talking about manipulation. This refers to an action designed to influence or control another person, usually blah blah blah. I will explain it with three main concepts, making 3 videos in which one game will perfectly showcase each part. The game begins, and this video's concept is seduction. In basic words, it refers to gaining a subject's trust. There are multiple ways to go about achieving this, and I will go through them as the game continues. The first thing I notice is Maroon doing the throwing out trash task. This is perfect for the first way of gaining a subject's trust, which is watching them do a visual task. If you are not sure, visual tasks are tasks that can clear a player of any suspicion, since everyone can see whether the person is actually doing the task. I waited around for him to arrive at the second part of the task, which is at the bottom of storage. Maroon started doing wires, so I decided to fake them in admin while waiting. Unfortunately, he was not making his way to trash, most likely because he wanted to notify others of the fact that he has trash in the next meeting. I ran to the right side through storage, shields, and then navigation, finally sabotaging lights. Nobody was in my path in cafeteria, so I could not catch anyone. I made my way to security, where I faked the second stage of the wire task. I then ran down outside electrical where everyone was, and fortunately I came just in time to see Maroon going to complete trash. I watched Maroon do the task along with Yellow, which would make Maroon be less suspicious of me, since an imposter would have no real value of wasting his time watching other subjects complete tasks. We danced around as if I am showing Maroon that he is clear. I arrived in admin to check where everyone is and tried to find a lone subject. I was about to catch Yellow, but Maroon interrupted my plans. But I noticed that the crewmates were actually pretty close to winning on tasks already, so I had to end someone as soon as possible. When I was on top of medbay, I sabotaged lights and finally ended Cyan. This was a risky kill, since depending on how much the light's sabotage limits the crewmate's vision, an engineer could have seen me kill. This depends on the settings that the host enforced, which I did not know. Exactly what I feared happened, and Black reports the body straight away. In the meeting he accuses me, so I realized that he saw me kill. At first I wrote how Maroon is safe for doing trash, which slowly seduces Maroon into trusting me more and more. I act as if I am confused, and Black explains how he saw me kill while he was in the vent. I quickly found the only path that would let me lose suspicion. It was acting as if a shapeshifter of me killed, instead of the actually me. Firstly, I say that I was not in medbay, and add that he most likely saw a shapeshifter of me. Black questioned whether the shapeshifter role was on, and Maroon says that it is. Black asks where I really was, and I reply by saying that I was on the right side of cafeteria. This is a pretty good place to lie about your location, because cafeteria is the biggest room in the game, so even if someone was there you can just say that you were on a different side. Black was still pressuring me, but I answered calmly by saying I was with Rose, who is my teammate, so she would not deny. Also because I saw her right before killing. Somehow my manipulation worked, and not a single subject even voted for me, even though Black quite literally saw me kill. Since there was suspicion on me, I decided to play slow, and ran with everyone else to fix light. I ran to the right side of the map while waiting for all the subjects to disperse. I faked wires and navigation, even though nobody was there. This is because if you always fake tasks while someone is watching, it will look more unnatural and fake. But if you fake them, and then someone arrives while you are still faking, it looks much more realistic. Even though it is beneficial for me to play slow and run with others, the taskbar gave me no choice but to rush. I hid in communication, and after a few seconds sabotaged lights and ran out searching for my victim. Black was alone, and even though it is suspicious to end the person who suspected me, I had to catch someone for a chance to win. I immediately began running away, and Gray came close to seeing me, so I had to hide in the vent as soon as possible. The body is reported, and I ask where it is, but I also noticed that my level 2 teammate has yet to catch a singular subject, which means I will either have to carry this game by myself, or end up losing. I act as if I am frustrated by the lack of information that White is providing after reporting the body. This also makes others, including my main victim Maroon, feel as if I am innocent. Since anonymous votes are on, I voted for white, hoping others will as well. Unfortunately, the meeting ended in a tie, but at least I am yet to be voted a singular time. As the round begins, I immediately close the doors in cafeteria, locking all of us there. This was done for two reasons. Firstly, I had to wait for my kill cooldown to end. Secondly, I could not let any of the subjects begin doing their tasks, since only a few were left to be done. I arrive at the admin table to take note of everyone's position. Cams were on, and since most subjects completed their tasks, I suspected that they would stay there for the entirety of the game, so I had to start thinking of a plan. I sabotage lights again, and then hide in lower engine while waiting for one of the cam rats to come out. No one arrived for a few seconds, so I was going to leave until I saw White coming through. I end him, and the first part of my plan to eradicate cam merchants worked. I was hiding in the vent when his body was reported. After asking where, I noticed Purple saying the location in a foreign language, which was great for me. This was now the second meeting, where the subjects received absolutely no information, which would lead to confusion, and end up making everyone forget that I was ever a suspect. Of course I had to act frustrated again, and I voted for Gray since Maroon put suspicion on him. I was one step closer to victory, even with a complete lack of my teammates' help. Lights were still sabotaged, so I had to run over and fix them. But this time I had no time to play slow, as the subjects were now about 3 tasks away from victory. I noticed there was still a cam watcher in the game, and after checking the admin table, there was more than one. I wanted to know who exactly was there, so I ran over there and found out it was purple, yellow, blue, and for some reason my teammate Rose. Since everyone was here, I decided to utilize my second plan for the camera merchants. I sabotaged lights, hoping that everyone would run over there so I could get a stack kill while they are fixing lights. But unexpectedly, none of the rats even moved, which forced me to start developing a third and final plan. After running around and waiting for my sabotage cooldown to end, I sabotaged lights yet again to prevent the subjects from focusing on their tasks. I also wanted to catch someone in electrical, but I saw Yellow sitting outside electrical, spying on anyone who goes in there. I realized sabotaging lights was useless for catching any subjects at this point, but I kept doing it out of fear of the task loss. Plus, I needed time to figure out a winning path. I even locked myself with others in electrical for the same 2 reasons. I now had the final plan against the camera rats completely constructed. I sabotaged communications, which would shut off the cameras, forcing one of the 2 constant watchers to go over and fix it. My plan relied on one of the subjects to stay on cams, awaiting the fix, while the other would run away, giving me a clear scoring opportunity. I hopped in the electrical vent, and exactly what I predicted would happen is what happened. I was able to quickly jump out, end purple, and go back into hiding. Obviously, the other rat returned and reported the body. At first, I call on everyone to complete their tasks, which is risky since I could have reminded one of the subjects who forgot that, but it also makes me look safe. I realized that we needed to vote out a singular more subject to win, even though my teammate is yet to get their first kill. Another side perk of my plan was that blue and purple were seen by everyone to be sitting on cams, so after one of them died, the other would be suspected, and maroon fell for the trap. Orange accused me, and in this final moment of decision between the subject, is when I complete the seduction part of my manipulation, by once again calling maroon safe, and agreeing with his suspicion of blue. I remembered my teammate accusing blue earlier in the game, so I knew she would vote for him. So the last piece in my puzzle was whether maroon would be successfully seduced by me or not. The last seconds pass, and that is when I realized that it worked. I fully had maroon's trust, just as planned from the very beginning. Now the only thing I needed to do was sabotage at the last second, and complete the masterpiece by ending the very person that I used to win the game. I won not because of my teammates' help, not because of the subject's stupidity, but because of manipulation. Seduction was only the first main concept of manipulation in Among Us. There are still 2 more, so please subscribe if you don't want to miss those videos. Also feel free to tell me anything particular you enjoyed, or something you didn't in the comments. Also feel free to share your video ideas. I have some in mind, but the more the better. I will see you guys soon, but until then, have a great day.